Next, if you like talking books, here's a message from the Calibre Audio Book Library.
Do you enjoy listening to books, but find that you would like a greater choice of titles than your local library can provide? The Calibre Audio Library provides a subscription-free postal audiobook service for visually impaired people and can bring you a whole new world of great books. With over 6,200 fiction and non-fiction digital titles, from the latest bestsellers to biographies, gripping thrillers, classic fiction and travel and history books, there's something for everyone. Our great news is the launch of Calibre's new streaming service, with all 6,200 digital books available online. Streaming is a service where Calibre audiobooks are delivered to you live as you listen using the internet, as opposed to downloads where the complete book is delivered before you start listening. You can listen to them on internet-enabled devices, which includes computers and, of course, mobile phones. This is an exciting development. Instant access to all your digital books, no waiting for the post, and complete mobility to listen to the book anywhere, anytime, using your internet-enabled smart mobile phones. As well as this new service, our new library catalogue now includes a sample audio clip for all digital books. Anyone can listen to the audio sample. You do not have to be a member. You can, of course, still listen to books on MP3 CD or memory stick on a wide variety of easily available players. Some of these models are supplied by local talking newspapers. At Calibre, we have two membership options. For a single payment of £35, you can enjoy great books with no annual subscription to continue using Calibre's service. Once you join, it's free to use for as long as you like. If you would like a player, we have two packages that include the joining fee, a choice of players posted to you, and free books for life. For £65, there is a choice of two USB memory stick players. We offer Laplock Technologies Boombox Plus or the King's Audio Sovereign. You can, of course, purchase players individually. If you enjoy reading but have never tried audiobooks before, then we also offer a 3-month free trial period. You can borrow a single book at a time, and at the end of the 12 weeks you can join our library with a membership option that suits you. Please note the 3-month free trial covers membership only. We are unable to provide trial players and cannot offer a refund on players purchased. If you would like to join Calibre, we need you to sign a membership form. Our membership services team can be contacted on 01296 432 339, and they will be happy to talk you through the membership options. A membership form can also be downloaded from our website, www.calibre.org.uk. After you join Calibre Audio Library, books can be chosen in two ways. You can select individual titles and make your own list. Our library stock can be viewed free on our website, or large print category catalogues can be purchased from our membership services team. Alternatively, let us know which categories of books you like and let us choose the titles for you. In fact, many of our members tell us they rather enjoy being surprised with a new author or title, as this greatly widens their reading knowledge. My name is Nicole Russell, and I hope you have enjoyed hearing about Calibre.
Thank you for that little article, Nicole. I'm a member of Calibre, and I do enjoy the books. Next, we hear more from Audrey Jenkins. This time she's conducting an interview with a friend of hers. First of all, let me apologise for the quality of recording. The microphone Audrey was using at the time wasn't very good, but it's still audible. So, over to Audrey.
Hello, I'm Audrey, and I'm here with my friend Pat, who's going to talk to us about her very adventurous grandson, Mike Perham. At the time, he was 17 and had just sailed around the world on his own. 3 years later, he's back again in the news. Can you tell us what he's been getting up to.
Well, Mike has just completed driving round the world in his small camper van. He's doing it for Shelterbox and has visited and given talks at various depots around the world and seen the terrible devastation which is being helped by Shelterbox.
Can you tell us a bit more about Shelterbox then?
Well, it's a very big, quite a big organisation that goes to any disasters that are happening all around the world, like tsunamis and earthquakes. And if people want help, they provide a box for each family, which includes drinking water and blankets and cooking materials and a tent and all the things that the family would need.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? And besides doing that for charity, he's also trying to achieve something else, isn't he?
Yes, he'd like to be the first person to, well, he is the first person to have sailed round the world, the youngest person, by himself, and now he's driven round the world by himself, and he would like to complete the trio by flying, but of course he's got to learn to fly first, and that's quite a big thing, but that's his aim, to be able to do all three things if he can manage it.
So what happens about getting across the waterways like the Channel and the water around Australia? How did that work when you're doing this record on land?
Well, he took the car through the tunnel, of course, and then he had to, I think he had about 3 or 4 different cars, and they were sponsored. So he didn't have to pay for the cars, but he did have to pay for the fuel, the petrol. And, of course, all his expenses he had to pay. He had a little bit of sponsorship, so that helped. So
did he pick up a new car on the other side of the...
Yes.
I see. He sort of left one car
yes.
and got another got across the water.
He did. To get to Australia,
yes.
They provided him a car, and they provided another one in New Zealand, and then he had to fly all the way to Alaska, and they provided another car there.
Oh, I see. Right.
And, of course, in Alaska, it was very cold and very icy conditions. So that was another experience.
And he was doing the driving all the time, I suppose.
Yes, he was.
Was there somebody in the car with him, do you know?
No, he was always by himself.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. We had to go through, I think, about reading the paper clippings, about 20 countries.
Yes,
like
I think...
China and Sichuan.
I think it was 22 countries he visited, and of course the culture was so different. He had a fantastic time meeting different people.
And they'd had some of the boxes, I think, hadn't they?
Oh yes, he was asked to go to the depots around the world, the ones that he could visit.
Right. So that was quite useful to see it in action, wasn't it?
Oh yes.
Boxes.
He was very thrilled about that. Of course, the devastation at times was terrible. In New Zealand,
oh yes,
they had
or something, didn't they?
That's right, and the boxes that people live now. It's amazing all the shops that were pulled down.
Really?
More like big boxes now. But all the different things have happened since earthquakes and things.
How did he get along without the language? Because there was a lot of people to talk to.
Very difficult. He had to smile his way through and make signs, but he seemed to manage, make them understand anyway.
So how did you follow his progress?
Well, it was very good. He used to write a blog on the computer, and I could see what was happening each time. And he was in contact with his parents, so they could contact him any time of the day or night if anything went wrong.
So, when he finished his journey, what happened next then when he arrived back in this country?
Oh, that was quite exciting. He came into the Air Museum near London, and a lot of children were there because they'd contacted the schools and they were there to welcome him. And he'd gone to the Spacebox place where his car had come from. He went there first, and then he was followed by I think it was about 12 or more cars of the same sort, and these caravans.
Yes, it's a Toyota camper van.
A Toyota camper van.
Orange, weren't they?
Yes, orange, and they followed them in, and all the school children just roared away, and they were very thrilled to see him. And he opened a bottle of champagne, and I remember the children saying, shake it, because they wanted to see it all fizz everywhere.
Right. So what are his future plans? You mentioned earlier that what he was aiming to do next.
Well, his main thing is he wants to learn to fly, but it's quite a job going through all the different ways that he can do that. He'd like to get sponsorship if it's possible, but it's a big job at the moment trying to find out what he can do. But that's his plan. But at the moment he is going to a lot of schools and doing talks and presentations, which they all enjoy. So that's sort of keeping him going while he's making big plans for the future.
He's a modern-day adventurer, isn't he?
That's right. Oh, yes, he likes to keep going. He's always busy.
Well, do wish him well, and we'll be hearing some more from him when he gives one of his lectures soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Audrey, for that recording. Once again, I apologise about the quality, but I hope you still enjoyed it. Next, I want to talk about the internet. This is something you normally access through a computer, but those of you who don't have a computer or find it a bit difficult using the computer, there's something out now that makes things much, much more simple. It's called the Sonata. It's produced by British Wireless for the Blind Fund. It's a little desktop box with a speaker on the top, a sloping front. It's got 3 little buttons in a row across the front, the OK button, the back 2 button, the power button, and 2 little arrows up and down, and a rotating volume. And it's very easy to use. It's just a question of pushing the buttons appropriately, as I'll demonstrate to you shortly. First of all, you don't need a computer, and of course you do not need computer skills to use this. You do need a broadband system, however. This can be installed by BT, or I believe other organisations do it as well. You need a broadband and a router system to connect your Sonata to the internet. Right, I'm going to switch it on now by pushing the little power button. This is the button on the right, and I'll be given a choice in a minute. When I hear what I want, I push the OK button. Quite simple. Here we go.
Welcome to the Wireless Fund Internet Audio Service. Press the OK button when you hear the subject of your choice. You can choose from the following: radio stations.
OK. Radio
Selected
stations.
radio stations.
Now, here's a list.
This list contains 37 items. Insight Radio. Talk. Audio Book Radio. Spoken Word.
Just wait for
BBC Radio Kent. BBC Radio Guernsey. Radio New Zealand National.
OK, that's what I want. Radio New Zealand. Here we are. Now.
From 12 million in 1990 to less than 7 million in 2011. But the health of mothers remains a big concern. Every day, 800 women die in childbirth.
That report from Imogen Folks. The lawyers of an American man accused of imprisoning 3 women for about a decade in his house say he will plead not guilty to all charges.
There's New Zealand nice and clear, you see. Now, if I want to go back to any station or forward, I can use the arrow key. I'll push once to go back to Radio Guernsey now.
Escape.
BBC Radio Guernsey.
Here it comes. Radio Guernsey.
Decreasing light, force 1 to 3 overnight. The visibility is good. We've got a UV index of 5 and maximum temperatures of 12 degrees Celsius. That's 54 Fahrenheit. And lows of 5 degrees Celsius. That's 41 degrees Fahrenheit. BBC Guernsey News, your next bulletin is in half an hour.
John Randall.
BBC Guernsey.
Thank you, Patrick.
So there's BBC Radio Guernsey. OK. As well as radio stations, you can get a number of other things, podcasts and to-naught publications. Let's now go and find Enfield Talking News. That's on the publication. So we'll start again with the main menu here. We'll just start up again. I've gone back to the main menu now. I'll wait for the choice.
Welcome to the Wireless Fund Internet Audio Service.
I want publications this time.
Press the OK button when you hear the subject of your choice.
So I'll wait a bit.
You can choose from the following: radio stations, podcasts, publications.
OK, publications.
You have chosen publications. You can choose from the following: local talking newspapers.
Push OK again.
You selected local talking newspapers. This list contains 60 items. Bedford and District Talking Newspaper.
Now, they're all in alphabetical order, so I'll skip a few by using the up arrow. You can do this. Use the arrow to make it faster.
Chelmsford, Cheshire, Colchester, Cotswold, Coventry, Croydon, Dacorum, Didcot. Ealing Talking News.
It's next, I think.
Enfield Talking Newspaper.
Here it is.
You selected Enfield Talking Newspaper. This list contains 5 items.
Right. Hello, this is Frances, welcoming you to the Enfield Talking Newspaper. Dateline the 9th of May, 2013. The readers this week are Audrey, Maureen, Malcolm and myself, with Dave on the controls. The items that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette, the Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, and are their copyright. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Bouillon, Harry Brewer, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry.
So there it is, Enfield Talking Newspaper. That's put on there every week, so if you have a sonata, you wouldn't need the tape anymore. You can access it on the website. It's very easy to use. From me, it gets top marks for its ease of use, its quality, and its reliability. I've had mine about 5 years and I've had no trouble with it at all. I can tell you a bit about it. When you get the sonata, you're given a website number, and the British Wireless for the Blind will help you. If you ring them and quote your number, they'll put any radio station you want on. So I've got stations I can't get on my normal radio set. You can have as many as you want that are there. And also, you pay £24 a year to British Wireless for the Blind for the website, and if you pay another £59 a year to TONORC, that's the National Talking News Service, you can have access to anything they publish. So it's a very good bargain, very easy to use. If you want to know more about it, you can contact British Wireless for the Blind, or you can buy it, but if you meet their criteria, they will give it to some people on permanent loan, though I don't know what the criteria is. But you can contact British Wireless for the Blind. I'll just find the phone number for you. The phone number is 0871 66424343. Ring them and ask them about the sonata. It's really well worth buying. It's so easy to use. About 2 years ago, my friend Malcolm Matthews, who edits the Jubilee Club magazine, went with Adventure and Learning on a tour of London, and they paid a visit to the Tower of London. They were guided by a beefeater called Barney. He shouts a bit like a sergeant major, but still it's quite a good recording. So we'll have a little listen. Here's Malcolm's visit to the Tower of London.
Okay, ladies, gents. Yeah. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good start. A very warm welcome to Her Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress, the Tower of London. My name's Barney. I'm one of 35 young rewarded little beefeaters that live and work here at the Tower. We're going to be together for about an hour, We're going to have a walk around this place. I'm going to point out one or two bits and pieces we got in there and talk to you about the fascinating history of this wonderful establishment. Are we all ready for a bit of that? Oh, yes. Beautiful. That's a good start. Right, we're going to go back a few years to very important dates in English history. 14th of October 1066, for it was on that fateful day that a man known as William, Duke of Normandy, got extremely lucky. He featured our champion, the Saxon King Harold II. And on Christmas Day of that very same year, he is crowned a couple of miles over to the west in a place known as Westminster Abbey. Finally crowned King William I of England. Now, in spite of all that, ladies and gentlemen, he still had a problem. The people of England weren't particularly happy at the fact that this man had the nerve to come across the channel to take our throne, our crown. Because of this, William then needed to find someone to build a fortress, to impress, to overawe, to intimidate the people of London, which is why he chose this site here on the east of London, also, coincidentally, where an old Roman fortress had once stood. 12 years after that then, 1078, William orders the building of his royal palace and fortress. It was the first of its kind anywhere in the land, and it later became known famously as the White Tower, as it is still known to this day. Also, still to this day, that same tower stands proudly, majestically at the heart of the fortress. I'm pointing looking no because you can't see it from here. So what on earth am I pointing at? Okay. So over the next 200, I will show you it later on. Over the next 200 years, then successive monarchs improved and added to the tower's defences until it became roughly what you see today. The tower is made up of a further 2 defensive walls. The inner of those walls built in the year 1220 in the reign of Henry III. 60 years after that, then, his son Edward I took on the reins, and he had this outer wall here built, 1280-ish, give or take. And then finally, while we're talking about defences, big green grassy area behind you, known then, as it still is to this day, as the moat. That same moat built in the reign of Edward I by a so-called expert from Holland, a man called Master Walter. Do we have anybody here today from Holland?
He's not used to it.
No? I'm sure there's one or two of you out there. You just trying to put your hands up, aren't you? Probably a good idea, because Master Walter made a monumental error. He had the moat built, and initially he came up with a good idea, a good plan, because the moat was built not only as a line of defence, but it was also intended as a catchment area for all of the filth, all of the waste, all of that human toilet stuff, which would be emptied on a daily basis from the walls directly into the moat. But that didn't matter, because Master Walter also ingeniously included 2 sluice gates into the system, one at the southwest corner and another at the southeast corner. Now, what would happen twice a day at high tide? These sluice gates would be open. That would then conveniently allow the waters of the River Thames, a short distance behind me, to wash around the moat and then flush all that filth, all that waste, all that human toilet stuff into our lovely clean River Thames. But even that didn't matter, folks, because what would happen is the treacherous current of that River Thames would take that toilet stuff out to the east. Picture it now, bobbing off down the river there, heading out towards the Thames estuary, where it would then pick up the current of the North Sea, which would take itself over the English Channel, yes, to settle nicely on the northern coast of France. Ingenious, well done, Master Walter. Do we have anybody here today from France?
France as well.
No? Good. I will say the French actually had the last laugh with this one, ladies and gents, because our so-called expert from Holland, Master Walter, he dug the moat too deep, didn't he? Which meant all that filth, waste, toilet stuff, where does it go? Straight down to the bottom. Thank you very much. Building up nicely over hundreds of years until the moat actually became the biggest stinking toilets anywhere in Europe. Thanks very much. Without doubt, though, one of its better uses. Best line of defence, if you ask me. Now, for Anna Tower's history, as you can imagine, 933 years. It's been used for lots and lots of different stuff, some good, some bad. I've already mentioned why it was initially built. As well as that, though, ladies and gents, since 1303, this has been the home to the crown jewels, the royal regalia. It's still the home to those wonderful artefacts still to this very day, and I'll show you their home later on. The Royal Observatory, the Royal Mint, two famous establishments in the history of England. This is where they started their life. As well as that, we've had a royal menagerie here for over 600 years, from the 1200s right up until 1832. Actually became too big, also too smelly. Imagine the smell of all those animals in with the smell of the moat. One of the things had to go. Duke of Wellington ordered that to be moved, the menagerie, northwest of here to a place known as Regent's Park, forming what we still know to this day as London Zoo. So as well as everything else, you've also got here the first zoo in the land as well. However, finally, but by no means least, without doubt, I'm sure you'll agree with me, the most infamous prison complex on the planet. Many famous military, religious and political prisoners historically held here within its walls. Many of those prisoners, I'm afraid to say, would lose their heads, their lives to the executioner's axe. Just up the top of the hill behind you, the other side of a busy road there that we still know to this day as Tower Hill. As well as everything else I've mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, 3 monarchs of this country, imagine that. 3 queens of England beheaded inside on Tower Green, and we'll go to that spot later on before the end of the tour. Before all that horrible, gory stuff, though, first of all, I want to draw your attention to the tall building at the top of the hill behind you, the white building with all the statues on it behind the tree there. Now, we know it as the Willis Building. Actually built for the Port of London Authority. Many years ago used to control all of the shipping that would sail up and down this grand old river behind me. And in truth, ladies and gents, that building, the Willis Building, has got absolutely nothing to do with the Tower of London. It's nice though, isn't it? I actually want to use it now as a reference point, okay? To the right of the Willis Building, over the other side of that busy road, we've got an open area that we know as Trinity Square Gardens. Now, to the left or west of Trinity Square Gardens, there's a brass plaque in the ground up there. It's only a foot square. It's mounted into the floor. Unlike the Willis Building, though, that brass plaque actually has quite a bit to do with the tower, because it marks the spot of the public execution sites where no less than 75 men of noble birth, among many others it must be said, would lose their head to the executioner's axe. First of those men was called Simon Sudbury, Archbishop of Canterbury back in 1381. Murdered, beheaded, executed. Call it what you will, but it happened for the first time up there on Tower Hill. Executed, quite simply, because as the Archbishop of Canterbury, he dared to impose a poll tax on the people of England. So it serves him right, doesn't it? It'd be great if we could still solve matters like that in such a very quick, unanswerable method. What a wonderful place this will be.